Hey guys, this is Justin at the Swab Review, and another remake of one of my favorite horror movies has just come out. This time it's Poltergeist. Yay! The best thing that can be said about this movie is that it is a movie. It's not terrible, it's not as awful as I was expecting it to be, but it's not good either. It's just in between. It's a very bland horror movie that is nothing special, but it could be worse. It could have been a lot worse. Yeah. So, the plot of the film, I'll just give a brief gist of it, is basically this family has moved into this new house. And it turns out that the house is haunted, and her daughter is being taken away by the spirits, and they have to try to get her back. And that's basically the gist of it. If you've seen the original, you know what the plot is. It's basically the same, aside from a few changes here and there. And the positives about the movie is the whole cast is pretty solid. Sam Rockwell was an awesome actor. He's great in the movie, so there's that. And Jared Harris in the movie is really entertaining. They're the two best parts. They're the two people that seem to have the most interesting characters and have the most to do. And they're the best parts of the movie. The rest of the cast is fine. The kids are actually not that bad. The son is okay, but not that bad. And the daughter is actually pretty good. She's pretty convincing, and I liked her. So that's good. The cast is all solid. And whenever it does something new, it's actually pretty interesting. There's a couple moments. There's one scene where it's involving shadows and like they're shining the light on the wall and you see the daughter's shadow and she's like running away. That was really interesting. There's a scene where they fly a drone into the closet where it's kind of like this where all the ghosts are. Like in the original, there's that closet and they have to go in and get the daughter out. And they fly a drone into there and you actually see what the inside of the place looks like. And yeah, it's overly CGI and stuff like that, but it actually looked kind of cool, and I actually thought that was interesting, and I like that. So whenever it tries something different, it's actually pretty interesting. The problem is, it doesn't do that often enough. A lot of times it's just rehashing stuff from the original, and this movie's only 95 minutes, so a lot of stuff feels rushed, especially the ending. The ending feels really rushed. There's the whole bit, mild spoiler, but you shouldn't really see it coming. If you've seen the original, you know what I'm talking about. Where they have a little fake out where it's like the house is clean and then, oh no, it's not. And in the original, you stop, the house is clean, you spend some time, you get to relax, and all of a sudden, no, it's not. In the remake, that happens in like 2 minutes. Like, oh, the house is clean. No, it's not. Oh, we got an action scene. And then that's the ending. It's so rushed. And a lot of moments like that don't work. There's that great scene in the original where the paranormal investigator, he starts seeing like worms and stuff in his food, and then he looks in the mirror and starts ripping his face off. Their version of that scene lasts like 5 seconds, and it doesn't include any face ripping. It's just Sam Rockwell looking at a reflection of his face on a sink, and then seeing maggots come out of his face, and goes, ugh. That's it. It's so underwhelming. The original movie had the whole build-up with the clown, and that was really freaky. You're just waiting for something to happen to that clown. And this one happens like right away. There's like one scene where they introduce the clown and the next scene where it attacks. And it's like, oh. I can't say I hated this movie. It's technically like, it's a good movie. It's a well-made movie. It's just not very interesting. That's the problem with the movie, is not trying to compare it with the original too much. But the reason why the original still holds up and is still a good movie today is that it's blended a lot of elements in it. It has some genuinely creepy moments. It's really funny, and there's that great sense of wonder, like at first, when you first are introduced to the ghosts and like they're moving the chairs around, that just, if you're not being scared, you're still being entertained. And I think that's why that movie still holds up, and that's what's wrong with this one, is that it plays it really straight. It's a straightforward ghost movie. Yeah, there's comedic moments thrown in throughout, but it's very straightforward, and that makes it feel generic. And that's why the original still stands out and holds up, is that it has all those elements going for it that just make it work as a movie and make it memorable. And this has nothing really memorable about it. It's just a bunch of like fun little moments and just, like I said, the best way to describe this movie is, There's nothing to it. There's a couple moments that kind of annoy me that, again, I think were pacing problems. Like, the way they explain that the cemetery, that the house was built on a cemetery, and they just moved the headstones, but left the bodies. The way they explain that is like, it's like, oh, how do you know that? The Jared Harris character just says, I believe they just moved the headstones and they kept the bodies. I'm like, how do you know that? And it's just because they don't have time to get in a scene where it explains how that happens because they're making a 90-minute movie. And that's kind of the problem. It's just that, again, it's very rushed, it's very bland, it's just, it doesn't do a whole lot. It's the kind of movie that, do I recommend you go out and see it? No. But if you have to see it, you could do worse. It's an okay way to kill 90 minutes if you have to go see it. It's fun, it's interesting enough, there's some good elements thrown in. It's, aside from the ending, which is very rushed, it's pretty well paced. Nothing really scary about it. It's one of those in-between remakes. It's not good like Dawn of the Dead or The Thing, and it's not god-awful like Halloween. It's just in the middle where it's going to just be forgotten about after it comes out. Nobody's really going to... And it doesn't tarnish the original. It just is a very forgettable kind of movie that, again, has some good elements and has some good things going for it. And if they decided to change things up a bit, change things up more, make it more original, I think this actually could have been a really good movie, to be honest. It actually would have been a pretty decent movie. So out of 10, I was going to go 6 out of 10, because like I said, it's not that bad of a movie and has some good elements to it. But the more I think about it, the more I'm not going to remember this movie by tomorrow. And it's just really bland. So yeah, I'm going to go 5.5 out of 10. So yeah, that's the Poltergeist remake. Again, it turned out better than I expected, just because I expected to hate this movie. Sam and I have been shitting on this movie for the past however many months. So the fact that it's not awful is a plus, kinda. But it's not very good. It's just, eh. So yeah, that's about all I can really say on the Poltergeist remake. So until next time, talk to you guys later.